Hey, what's up, guys? So I had another recording issue where the original recording didn't save. And rather than just go through it to show my attacks first because you can't see what I'm pressing, I figured I'd just go ahead and show the replays and show you the score up front. Because this one is really a barely loss or barely won. So definitely I lost. But as you can see, had I not dropped a room, then I would have still lost. And let's go into why. Here's my opponent's ranking. So he's nearly 100 mil total collection power. He's really strong with his strongest team power as well, almost 3.7 mil. But the total collection power would have just been too much. And so I'm at 96, close to 97. So we're pretty even, but in a tie, he'd won the tiebreaker. Now, as you've seen from the replays, I'll just recap on the ones I think that are most important on how I made this mistake. Because my original plan was to go in with this, what is it here? The Masters of Evil. And that didn't work out mostly because of the mistake I made here. And I checked the counter sheet and I didn't watch the video, and it says New Warriors will work here. I should have watched the video. It would have changed my plans because I know Secret Defenders would have had a better chance here. Now, when I dropped this attack, I had no idea where to use my New Warriors, so it just threw off the entire thing. And I think I'd already gone in with my Mercs and my Black Cat. It's like, oh boy. So it was just kind of a flood of like, oh, you fucked up moment. And as a last resort ditch effort, thinking, okay, well, maybe Masters V will work on that Spider Society. Maybe, because I have no idea. I threw Wakanda in saying maybe, because this Dakin is so small, they'll do fine. Okay, they don't, and he wrecked them. So you guys can understand that. If you see a Dakin that's 300K or 250K or whatever he is, he's strong. And so basically, that first room, had I gone with the original plan, I wouldn't have dropped one less. There's still been a tie. So that meant that going in here, even with this New Warriors sacking this, in a sense, I don't think they did enough. So I think what made me, and I could be wrong, because Quicksilver with this Secret Defenders is really pretty decent because of the Doctor Strange. But I really think it worked because when I went in, there was no Quicksilver. And so I don't know if this was really possible to win, because just going according to just what we see here, my second attempt is what got rid of Quicksilver. And I'm leaning towards this cleanup working because there was no Quicksilver, especially because the Spider side is in 6. So this is just it's another unfortunate loss, but it's just a good learning experience. Hopefully you guys are getting a lot from watching this, just from the mistakes and saying, hey, let me make adjustments before that happens to me. And I think here was a decent counter. I just don't know that I need to use both Lizard and Vulture. And so there's where I need to make some decisions on if I'm using too much to probably get the same results. This one was a close one. And I think it was okay to have Void Knight, but maybe I should have brought in Red Goblin as well. Instead of, I think what I have, I had Emma. And that maybe would have got me a little bit better efficiency. So that's something I'll think about when I'm looking at this room, because I'm sure I'll see it again. This is a serious defense this guy's running here. So if you guys really want to trip guys up and most likely cause a double tap, I mean, it's beatable with a one tap, but most likely cause a double tap, this Rogue Gambit Black Knight with Tangle Web is pretty fierce. This was for science, and so I was excited to go in, and so I probably jumped in too soon, and maybe I should not have done this first. Maybe I should have just done some of my other attacks here they're going, because two teams, in a sense, were used. I mean, Black Cat, people are using it free to play, but I have the entire Secret Defenders built up pretty evenly, so it just was maybe not the best move for me. in that I probably could have used a number of different tunes as a fifth, especially after the New Warriors didn't work. I probably could have just come in with Death Pool. So there's some things to think about in not necessarily going for the toughest room first, maybe going for the easier rooms first, as it is with going for the tougher rooms first and the easier rooms last. But in this case, I really think I probably should have just gone with the easier rooms first, or not necessarily the easier rooms, but what appeared to be a not so hard room to take out when I first saw it, because there was no Old Man Logan in there. And I didn't catch that at first. I was just automatically assumed the Old Man Logan was in there. And then he's not. And I was like, oh, Masters of Evil will take this because of their speed and because they're still Crucible. But once again, a good learning experience for us all. And so I'm starting to think that we need to reserve our Infinity Watch for offense as a cleanup, and Infinity Watch for offense as a sack. When we start seeing these Black Knight teams, as we're seeing more guys get Mephisto, I think we need to make that transition to being comfortable with our defense with Infinity Watch for offense. And so you guys saw these attacks. This is Infinity Watch. It's pretty standard, but he got a few better points, using Pegasus. He tripped up here. So Spider Society is a strong team. He used New Warriors, they failed as well. He was able to get out, what did he get out here? He got out Penny, but still, it was a double tap. And I do think they're good in 2. I'm starting to think they will be better in 6. I think this team has potential, but clearly Colossus is not bringing enough added value for what's going on in Crucible. So I think the other 4, especially with Phoenix, are workable, and I have to figure out a new 5th. I think this is a solid defense. The thing is, I'm already breaking up the out-of-time 4-piece with Dorm to basically have still 2 teams here. The question is, after you see Tangle Web in here, are there other combinations that will work well with the basic 3, being Black Knight, Rogue, and Gambit? And so that's what I want to explore next. I think this is a solid defense. I think putting a Preton in here, I think somebody as expendable as Bishop is a good idea, because his counter, he came in with APOC. And so when you're looking at using an APOC or a Scroll, which is Superior 6, to beat Superior 6, I think you did your job. The question is, by this being an 83-64 in his one shot, is that something I want to compete against, because that's a pretty high score. And of course, my room 6 will be a draw for Cabal. And I think he just used Old Man Logan there just to see how he would do. I don't think there was anything special going on there with that. Cabal was just wrecking it. So in order to try to salvage this and get basically 2-1, because I think that's extremely necessary after going 1-2 first season and already losing the first match this season, I'm back to out of time with Dorm. And I saw a couple guys in Updog's voice chat as we were helping out guys that this is still a very tough team to beat. I think room one, when you balance your defense, makes them have to consider heavily what they're going to use. And as I watched Mercs on offense and defense being used by other guys and myself, I think that Doolam's idea was good. You put him in here, you put him on defense with a pre-taunt. And so I think he was using Zuggs, I'm not sure, and maybe it's Desir using Zuggs, but Zero brought up Absorbing Man. And I said, that's not a bad idea. And actually, Absorbing Man was brought up first when I was thinking about keeping Superior 6 on defense and 5. I've moved them to offense. I'll get into that in a minute. But the main thing is, Zero mentioned a team where you can still use the 3-piece, Masters of Evil. And I was like, yeah, I can still see that working and being pretty good. So I said, let me just try this out because this will be pretty ideal. You got Absorbing Man in here. He's Cosmic Crucible, and he's the tank. And then my hope is that when Old Man Logan gets splash damage, he'll take off. And at some point, Pandapool will start taunting. And now you can really see Old Man Logan go to work, and it'll just draw the fight or make it impossible for them to win. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, I think they're still susceptible to a blind, but I think it still has to be strategically played in how you're going to use a blind on this team. Sham brought up for my room 3, if you really want to shake things up for the Master of Evil, counter throwing Quicksilver. I said, he's right. That would shake it up because this is already a somewhat hard team to beat with the 4-piece, these spare parts from the 5 that we've been using, either full extreme dorm, or with Rogue. And I said, well, if you throw in Quicksilver with this Phoenix, and then you also get a chance for Scarlet Witch to balance off or really do a heal, this could be a problem. So, let me put him in there. And as I was watching some of the guys battle, I was seeing Unlimited. And the first one was Sham going against Unlimited on Dorky's baby account. And I was thinking, why is he doing that? And then after seeing a couple more guys go against him, it was almost impossible to kill Sunfire. I said, oh, it's the rework. He's tanky now. So we got a tanky Sunfire. So I said, I'm going to put him in here. And rather than go with Dazzler for the basics that she would bring, to this team, I said, let me try Jubilee and hope for assist, because now we have 3 X-Men. We have basically 2 damage dealers in Gambit and Sunfire that could be called upon to really lay waste to the opponent. And so with 2 taunting tanks and then Rogue, of course they both can hit those tanks. They hit hard, that is. So it's like, just give this a try, because I'm figuring there'll still be a double tap. I think they'll have to double tap it just because of the Rogue Gambit Black Knight combo there. But we'll see how the other 2 work out. And it's really low budget for me. It's not cost me much to have them in there. So I'm back to Hive Mind Scroll and chat with Desir. He said he was running this the whole time. So it's like, let's throw them in there because it's gonna pull a Cabal, most likely. I mean, it could pull something else. And that's all they did when I had them in room 6. So like, well, let me just put them in there. I do like the idea of Hive Mind for offense, but I don't know so much as this season because I'm starting to see some other possibilities for the offense, the top 6 teams to be a little more reliable than having Hive Mind as one of the top teams. And of course, the Spider side in 6, because all their ults go off turn 1. You got Penny, you got Pav, especially Pav, and they can just wreck your team because it's turn 1. And so we'll see how that works out, especially with Pav and Peter flanking Noir and they get that stealth. So we'll see how that goes because I think that's going to be pretty crucial in how guys approach room 6. And so I want to wrap this up just going through the offense real quick to show you guys how I'm still trying to have some balance here. Got Superior 6 with Vulture. This is how I think I'll get better use than having Vulture and Lizard on Cabal. So this will be a decent counter for many things. We have the full Secret Defenders. And I do think this is going to be the counter, the primary counter for different versions of Spider Society. This is that Doolum special here. So we'll see if it's necessary. I just have it in my roster for just in case, as well as the Undying with APOC and Doom, because I think I used those, or I saw those used, or both, on Superior 6 and 5, but I'm not sure if there was a Lizard in there. I think it was still no Lizard. Cabal, Lizard, Archangel. I think Archangel is a good fit until I really give some thought to some others. I have thought about throwing Zemo in there, but I think the problem is, even, he's a level 85, even a slightly built Zemo is just gonna die, so that could affect your efficiency, because that's several points difference on the health that could add up to a couple points, to 2 or 3 points that could make a difference in a win. So I think Archangel has a better chance of living throughout the battle and still performing well for the team, or well enough. And here is the Masters of Evil and the two with the Martanga Web. So I'm excited to try this. Someone did use it yesterday. It didn't go well for them, but I see the potential in it. And so we'll see how this goes. New Warriors is here more so as a cleanup. Pegasus is still here mostly for Infinity Watch, which is basically a cleanup, or a cleanup team as well. Wakanda's a cleanup team. And then I have what I would look at as my SAC teams, which would be Infinity Watch, SAC or cleanup, Darkhold, SAC or cleanup. And these two teams are just in there because they were originally something for offense, so I just didn't take them out. But overall, what is that? -2, that is 30. So I have 11 teams, and you can see the 6 or 7 that I primarily use on offense, maybe 8 when you're fluctuating through them, to have some ways to try to one-shot. So that's it for this one, guys. Chat later.